You're listening to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kierstead.
Ladies and gents, this is Kevin Kierstead, host of Truth on Tap and Caps on Tap. I hope you're enjoying the show. Truth on Tap is focused on bringing you absolute truth about everything from mainstream media to comedy, from psychology to the paranormal. This show keeps it real, not the fake kind of real, the real kind of real. That same spirit also covers our Caps on Tap show about the Washington Capitals. Caps on Tap shows air only after Capitals wins at this time. Please come like our Facebook page and join the conversation at facebook.com/TruthOnTapShow. Truth on Tap has been picked up and promoted by iHeartRadio, the internet audio mega monster, so shows are available there as well as on Spreaker and a limited selection on iTunes. To get in on a show's chat, you can chat from the Facebook page I mentioned or go to www.spreaker.com/user/TruthOnTap and look for the live episode or call in at 910-NOLYING. That's 910-665-9464. Thanks again for checking out Truth on Tap and Caps on Tap.
You're listening to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kierstead.
Opening up the truth pipeline for these bitches.
Truth on Tap. Truth.
My right to say how I say it's mine to give. My hands, my heart, it's mine to share. My songs, my
Truth on Tap.
invite to use. Just the way you chop it up and recombine. Chop it up and recombine.
July 31st, 2014, 9 o'clock, Alpha Meridian. I might have to go vigilante. I don't want to go vigilante. Generic Hip Hop Session 1, gonna get me a little jump start here. Fire me up, just a shot in the right arm, if you will. Better yet, how about a shot of adrenaline directly to the heart? A little bit of Pulp Fiction, a little bit of insanity. Insanity can sometimes be defined as what a normal person does under intense and extreme circumstances. Can it not? Can it not? I gotta just think about this. I gotta think about it, but I don't know because I'm feeling too. Can you help me figure this out, listener? Can you? Maybe you can. Maybe you can. I'm going to run it by you today. Yeah, I'm doing an Eno spread here. These guys have captured something in my spirit. The Generic Hip Hop Session 1, then Copenhagen NV, and then Advanced Base Camp. We're doing all three. Yep. Yeah, because I'm thinking I might have to go vigilante here. And I might. And I will if I have to. That's all there is to it. If you haven't listened to the last show, I'll try to fill you in a little bit on this one, but I'm not going to do a review. I was wrong. I was wrong to be at peace. Yeah, it wasn't warranted. Got concerns about the criminal justice system. Ja.
Ja, I griner godt nok. Men penge, jeg synes ikke, det er spor morsomt.
You're listening to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kierstead.
Wes Johnson. You can find him at wesjohnson.com. Greatest on-air personality that has ever taken to two legs on this planet. Copenhagen NV. This sounds a bit like Fight Club, and I'm about to get that kind of insane. You don't want this guy who tried to break in. No, you don't. For those of you that don't know, the guy that did try to break in didn't just walk up to the house and scope it out. He took a shovel and took the back window out. That's when I was in action. There have been no arrests, and that's a problem for me. Now, I know the cops have a job to do, and that's why I'm not going to discuss case specifics, because if there's one part of the broken manimal that I know, it's the goddamn defense attorney. Now, we need defense attorneys. You need to have somebody you can turn to have a fair trial, and in case you're wrongly accused, it happens. But when the evidence starts piling up, all the defense attorney's thinking typically is, how do I get my guy out? How do I get him out? That doesn't work for me. Justice will be done in this case. That I can assure you of. I don't know when, and at this point I can't tell you exactly how. But I hope it does not require a rising vigilante, because Vigilante Rising is Kev gone mad. When you try to break into my home and it's just me here, there's a part of me, you heard it in the other show, I can handle that. I can handle it. But then I started thinking, wasn't it just the clock that kept other people from being here? And wasn't it just the fact that I woke up that kept all my stuff from being stolen, or me having to kill this motherfucker? Because I would have. Once you're in my house and I don't know you, I've got to kill you. But wait a minute. He heard noises and ran. He had already broken out the back window and was prying up the secondary window. He broke the storm window, had a shovel trying to pry it up. Okay? So we know the intent. We don't have a question about that, do we? I don't think we do. Now, had he been one window away, there would have been someone's room who was a child that he would have been going into. And had the clock been on a different hour, that child would have been in that bed. That's a problem for me, because my brain started working. Your brain doesn't work real well in the heat of battle when you've never been in a situation before. It doesn't use logic. It usually uses emotion, and it often employs a defense mechanism that softens most of the blows. Well, I've had time to think, and now I'm pissed off. I shouldn't be. I know the reasonable way to think. I know it. I've got the model. I've been preaching it to you for 150 episodes. I know the right way to think about this. But now I'm mad. What do I do about that? What do you do when you're angry? When your home has been broken into and the people in it could have been hurt or killed, what do you do? When it's you, what do you do? Picture it right now. Stop thinking about me for a second. Picture you. You're at your house. It's the middle of the day. The window breaks in. You go outside just in time to see the guy fleeing into the woods. How are you feeling right now? And if you think that's bad, wait till you hear what comes next. First, work on that feeling for a minute. Eno, Copenhagen NV, thank you for that song. Next, we're going to Eno's Advanced Base Camp, because I'm going to take you up the mountain. I'm going to take you up Vigilante Mountain.
Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kierstead.
Well, we're at Advanced Base Camp now. The elevation up here is about 18,500 feet, maybe a little bit more. My altimeter reads 5,600 meters. So that puts us above really any peak in the continental United States outside of Alaska. It was quite a surprise to get here and see Advanced Base Camp.
So, Advanced Base Camp has a bit of a funk factor that I can relate to, because I've told you guys before and I have not hidden it. I mentioned early as a disclaimer that I'm not going to share all my secrets. Truth on Tap just means that what I'm saying is true. It doesn't mean I'm telling you everything about my life. I'm not obligated to do that on a goddamn radio show. But there are some things I have told you. And I told you that we all have a dark streak, right? I've got mine. I've also told you that you should only employ that when you have to. I'm in a position now where I may have to. What you don't know is the level of my resolve when I feel like someone has threatened me in a serious way. It is endless. It is without any break once I start. It is Manny Pacquiao in the 10th round when he thinks he needs a knockout. I come until I finish, and something's going to give here. This is not going to be a case that goes into the back files and rests, while this guy goes and breaks into more houses, threatening more people. The common belief right now is that he tried to break into another house the same day, not far from here. Same description. I've got photographs. We've had 4 people identify this guy, and there's been no arrest. I have a problem with that. So what's going to happen if I find out in 2 weeks there's still not been an arrest? What do you think I ought to do? Let it go? Just let the chips fall where they may? While I have to wonder who this motherfucker's breaking into next, while I have to wonder if this bastard's going to come back to my house thinking he can find the film and the camera, while I have to wonder if the people that I'm in charge of protecting are safe, while I have to wonder if he's not going to bring a gun this time, something's got to give, and I'm a human being, and I guarantee you can measure this shit and look back at this show, and you will see that I told you the truth when I said justice will be done. It will be done. This is not something that I forget about. I have a friend named Shane. He told me a couple years back, I have a problem with forgiveness. Well, I think he's right. And I really have a problem with forgiveness when someone has been attacked without provocation. That's why I ran the comparison to 9/11 on the way I feel about this. Much smaller in scale, of course, but it was the same reaction in my heart. It really was. We got to get somebody. That's what I was thinking. Somebody's going down. That's what I was thinking. Somebody cannot come out of the blue unprovoked, attack a place, and break into a location or otherwise harm people that did not deserve it or ask for it and get away with it. It's not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. And it's not going to happen here either. Yeah, he better find a goddamn mountain and climb all the way up that bitch. He needs an advanced base camp.
You're listening
and that
to
still
Truth
won't stop me.
With host Kevin Kierstead.
You know, it's yesterday when I spoke to you, I had a certain amount of compassion. I had a certain amount of wanting to believe that law enforcement had worked. And maybe they still will. Maybe they just need time. See, I have a bit of sympathy for law enforcement because I know what they face when they go into court and they have to deal with a defense attorney and their fucked up arguments and they're creating reasonable doubt when there shouldn't be any. And if you get some evidence wrong or you move too quick and you make a mistake, all of these things can cause your guy to walk. I understand that they need time for that. However, when you have photographic evidence with several witnesses that can identify the guy in the photograph, you wonder why things have to wait. Because every hour that he continues to walk free, if you live near me, just realize it could be you next. And this time, he's probably got nothing to lose because he knows they're on his trail. When you got nothing to lose, yeah, you just shoot people if they see you. Why not? You know? Good luck, people. Hope you're feeling comfortable in your house right now. Ladies at home with your kids. Guys at home. If you don't have the kind of balls I have, if you don't have the resolve that I have, if you're scared, I feel for you. I'm sorry about that. But you have a choice now to begin to defend your location. So do that. Do the right things. Look it up. Google's a wonderful tool. And you can find out how to keep your place safe. And of course, you need to figure out how to keep your person safe. If you don't have time to learn karate, you're going to need a weapon. And you're going to need to know how to use that weapon. And you're going to need to practice with it. Because what happens is people, when they get in situations that the adrenaline's flowing, they think they're ready, but they're not. Remember, when you haven't seen a situation before, unless you have practiced it, you will often be caught off guard because what your mind wants to do, what this broken manimal's thinking insists upon, is that you look for something like this that has happened in the past so you'll know how to act. But if it hasn't happened in the past, your mind sits there drawing blanks. That is a very dangerous and vulnerable time for the average broken manimal. Because the guy coming in knows what he wants to do. He's got his plan. You don't have yours. The only way you can figure this out, this goes for if your house catches on fire, this goes for if you're trying to plan for a 2-week power outage from a hurricane, is to go through the practice, run some drills, pretend in your mind that it's really happening. And then when it comes, you don't get caught off guard. You're ready to rock and roll. I was caught off guard, but this all happened in under a minute from the moment I got up off of my couch to the moment I saw him fleeing into the woods. And of course, I'm thinking, that's my pops out there. Pops has stopped by. Sometimes they hang donuts or bread. Mom likes to go shopping at the discount bread store. It's one of her therapies, and I don't blame her. It's cool getting a deal. And I can't even eat bread anymore, but Tanya and Mallory can, so that's cool. So I figured that's him out there. And he's looking through to see if he sees anybody. And then when he saw my silhouette coming to the door, he fled. And that's when I knew we have a problem here. So, of course, me being me, I didn't just go hide and call 911. I went out the fucking door. I'm ready for action at this point. I don't know what's going on. I don't realize that a break-in has just been attempted. I have no idea. All I heard was some scratching, okay? And I go outside and see him disappearing, and I yell, "I've already called the cops. You're going to jail." And I'm not even sure why I did that. I didn't realize something had happened at that point. I just knew that whoever it was that was there wanted to get away quick. So my quick assumption was he's done something he shouldn't have done or was about to. And now we pretty much know who this is. And if I find out that he's still walking free, I have to ask myself some very serious questions if this continues for many more days. Because how do you feel? Let me ask you, how do you feel? Your house has been broken into, the guy's been identified by several people, and he's still walking free. Is that okay with you? That make you feel warm and cozy inside? So you tell me, am I being reasonable by saying I got to do something? I'm going to do something if something doesn't happen. Guaranteed. Only question is what? I haven't even decided on that at this point. That sounds like a threat? It is. It is. Something's going to give. You're just not going to come into my house or try to come into my house. He didn't come. If he had come in and I'd walked in at the moment he was coming through the window, he wouldn't have made it out alive. That goes for anybody. It just, if I recognize you, things change a little. Because then I go, okay, here's a person who somehow got desperate. I got to call the police. But, maybe I'm not going to cut the throat. Maybe I'm not going to pull the trigger on the rifle. I have to think about this for just a second, just a split second. But if I don't recognize you, I guarantee you that if this ever happens again, the person does not leave the property alive. I guarantee you. I don't want to see this happen again. This is not some sort of fantasy I have. I know some guys have these fantasies about defending their home and exactly how they'll handle themselves and how they'll be the hero of the day. I don't need that. I don't have that part of my ego. It's gone. I used to have it. Used to want to be proud of that type of typical male thing. Don't need to anymore. I just don't need it. It's not a thirst that I have. It's like eating rice. I can live without it. I'll eat it if it's there, but I can live without it. But now I know something has to happen. Something will happen. Because I've seen the aftermath now. And I know that the public is at risk for every moment that whoever this guy is continues to walk free. I know that. Who's in chat there? RD, what's up? Hey, what's up, Alan? Hey, or I'm sorry, not Alan. Alan's Radio Network. Give me your name again because I can't remember. I get RRN and RD confused. I think that's reasonable for me because I have a terrible memory. I'm ashamed of my memory. I have decent long-term sporadic memory. I mean, I could write down on a piece of paper for you and diagram to a T the neuron, the dendrites, the synaptic clefts, the axon, the chemical movements of calcium and potassium moving the signal along the axon. I can do all of that. But I couldn't tell you much of what happened to me in the 6th grade or the 11th grade. Just gone. It's just gone. You have no name, so RD is what you'd like to go by, sir? Welcome to the chat room. You guys can jump in on chat if you don't know. If you're listening through the Facebook tab, look down to the lower right-hand side. And I think they make you register, like you got to put your email in, but they don't bombard you with emails or anything, and you don't even have to confirm it. You just have to give them an email, so you can give them a fake one, I think. But then you can get in on the chat. RD will have to do, okay, all right, you're laying low. I probably should too. I should have a radio name. I'm very exposed like this. All right, so somebody broke into the apartment below you, RD. Can you tell me the aftershocks? How did that play out, and how did you feel after that? Because that might as well have been your house. It's the same building. They picked one below you. The randomness of it could have just as easily made it your place. Crazy Dutchman. No, I remember where you live. I remember you're in Holland. Yeah. Let me ask you this, RD, too. When you get done telling me about how this after effect of, it makes you paranoid, I'm sure. What happened? Was there injuries? Were there large items stolen? I mean, had this guy gotten into our place, I work on laptops, okay? Mostly laptops, some desktops too. I've probably got, in my house, more than a few computers. Now, most of them are just parts machines, and you're not going to get any money for them if you take them to a pawn shop or anything like that. But some of them aren't. So he comes in, if he takes my computer and my girlfriend's computer, I mean, this radio show, half the work I do, the books that I write, I do everything on this computer. And we don't have the kind of resources where we can just say, oh, we'll just go buy new shit. Not like that. Not $1,000 computers. So that pisses me off too. You know, that our whole lives would have been put on pause so he could go get his drug fix or whatever he was after. Yeah, I'm mad. I'm mad now. I shouldn't be. I know that it's wrong. See, this is what this whole show's about. I am the living... I never wanted to be the example. When I talk to you on this show, I usually talk about other people, and I'm usually talking about ideas that they've shared or understanding the human mind and how we're kind of weak because we can be overtaken by emotion and things like that. Well, this is a perfect example of that. You know, I'm kind of playing this role on this show of being the relayer to you of reason and logic and critical thinking. And then I get off of my game, and I am off. The emotion has taken over to a degree. But then you have to ask this. If you don't have the emotion, if you don't have the willingness to defend your domain in a vicious way if necessary, if you don't have the kind of drive that makes you pursue someone who has wronged you in a dangerous way, how long are you going to make it if laws collapse, if society collapses, if we are returned to a natural state where we have to defend our own? How long are you going to make it if the Chinese invade and our military is disabled through some sort of super-duper hacker network, and you just have to fend for yourself? If the militias have to show up again in America, you should all have arms. I mean, you know, it's only lack of imagination that makes people want guns to be gone. Because when they find themselves at the end of a squad of 15 Chinese troops coming up on your house, all of a sudden you're thinking differently. So I honestly think in this country, for security, you need to have your weapons. Lock them up properly. Learn to use them properly. Don't let anybody else have access to them that should not have access to them. All of that. Put all that safety in there. Make sure they're all legal. Do all of that. And then be ready. Target practice once a year. Make sure you can hit your fucking target. You also have to imagine that if you are going to be shooting at a target, you're probably going to be pretty nervous at the time for a lot of reasons. Are you going to be shaken? And if you're shaken, are you going to miss the target? Are you going to second guess yourself? You have to put these scenarios into your head. What will I really do when this happens? And you may find that you weren't as prepared as you thought you were. They came through the front door, RD says. That makes it worse, the baldness. We don't have anything any burglar would want, though. We're poor people. Well, we're poor, too, but they'll take anything, especially if they're desperate. And I didn't have things outside my house that would have indicated to someone, you may score if you break into this one. You know, I got a scooter out there that isn't worth $300 now. And that's it. A broken down lawnmower, that's it. You know, so I think it's just they were looking for people that didn't look like they had anybody home. And that's what they were looking for. Now, right now, with the way things are going, with the evidence piling up against one person, with 4 people coming out of the woodwork to say they could identify him, and me knowing there's been no arrest, I'm having a problem. I'm having a problem. And I can't discuss case specifics because I don't want this case to have any chance of falling through. When the case goes to court, I want to be there. I need him to see my eyes. That's important to me. Because he's going to know, whoever this guy turns out to be, that I'm not the guy you want to face when you break into a house. He's going to know that. And just because I'm 6'5" and 250 pounds, don't let that scare you. Because if I were 5'6", 130, I'd be just as much of a badass as I am right now. And that just means that I'm determined to protect the people around me. Always have been, always will be. Don't know why, don't question it. I just go with it. Now, I can tell you, thinking that way, being that way, makes you question, are you a reasonable person? Or can you be easily switched into another gear with a little bit of emotion? Can you be? Have you been? Look at your history. What is it that made you snap when you've snapped before? How much provoking was required? That'll tell you how reasonable you are and can be and how much control you actually don't have. If someone walked up to you in the middle of the day, looked perfectly innocent, they were carrying a shopping bag, they were, not in any way threatening looking, and slapped your child right in front of you, what would you do? Would you call 911 and wait? See what he was going to do next? We're animals, folks. We're animals on the inside. We learn civilized behavior, and we normally live using that civilized behavior because it's advantageous. It keeps trouble away from you. It allows you to unite with other humans, to engage in bartering and trade and social behavior. All of these things play to your advantage. It is the person that comes out of the blue, unprovoked, that attacks you, that switches all of that civilized behavior off, and you become an animal again. And there are so many people in this world that deny that animal doesn't live inside of us, that I don't know what's wrong with them. I'm not sure how their line survived. I'm not sure Darwin would understand how their genes made it through, because we haven't been civilized for that long on the grand scale of human evolution. So this is a relatively new thing. Social behaviors we've had for a long time. Chimpanzees have social behaviors. But go threaten a chimpanzee's baby. Go get between a mother grizzly and her cub and watch what happens to you. That's what will typically happen to the average human that you do that to. I'm not arguing at all that I've somehow advanced myself past the animal. I tell you that I use reason, logic, thinking. I try to make rational decisions at all times, because ones I have made in the past that weren't rational have cost me. So it just makes sense to me. Plus, when you're trying to figure out news and information that's being sent to you and rumors that are going around, you have to apply a filter if you want to be accurate in your beliefs. If you don't apply that filter, well, I'm just reading an email from the police. Give me a second. Okay. Well, they're no. All I can tell you right now is no arrest has been made, and that continues to be a problem for me. So I know they have their job to do. I know it's not always as lightning quick as a victim would like. Oh, that's a good picture. See, I've got all kinds of pictures from one witness to match up to my picture that I've got, and I'm doing some photo measurements to figure out if the ear is the right size and right placement on the head, if the shape of the head is the correct shape. Jeez. Yeah, I think we got our guy. She sent some better pictures to me, and This is bothering me. Well, what would you do? I guess that's the question. And I'll get back in there and see what RD has to say about this. You can call in if you like, if you got something to say about this. 910-NO-LYING is the number. 910-665-9464. Vigilante Rising. Will Kevin have to take matters into his own hands? That is the question. And I think anybody that knows me on a personal level knows what's up. This is not something that's just going to pass and go to the silent file. So let's just hope, which we can, that the police have their things in motion and they're going to do their thing. And it will require absolutely nothing from me more than I've already given. Let's just hope that's the case. That's what I want to see. I want that, and I want a court date. Okay. Yeah, just reading these emails. There's been a flurry of emails here, so it's caught me off guard. Let's see. I like how you analyze yourself. Thank you, RD. I don't like to use myself as a model because it's like I don't even like talking about myself. My interest lies outward. It's in the human animal. It's in how the mind works. But I'm thinking about these masses of people in America, the ones I've had experiences with, the ones I've studied case files on, the ones I've learned about. I'm not thinking about me because I know me already. I'm bored with me. I want to know about the others. I want to know about what's going on in science. I want to know about who's lying in politics and how people are following these lies and thinking they're the truth. These are the kind of things that interest me, not me. So if it weren't for this incident 2 days ago, we wouldn't be talking about me. But I just turned out to be a great example of someone who's been thrown off of their logic game and had emotion creeping in. And when you think about the situation and you ask yourself, you probably come to a similar conclusion, and that is that you're going to do what you have to do to defend your people and your property. Or not. Are you the person that's just going to say, look, nothing is worth me getting hurt, take it all? I don't think you'll hurt the people in my property. Go ahead and come in and take what you want. What's normal? Normal, for one thing, is subjective. Normal doesn't exist. Normal is a word that we've been using to gauge the people at the center of the bell curve on any given study. But normal continues to shift and move. You know, it's an okay reference. There's nothing really wrong with it. Unfortunately, it's misunderstood as normal being healthy. And normal is not always healthy. You know, normal is not always morally correct. And normal is just the average. It's what you'd expect. And what you'd expect in many cases is not really morally correct. And it's not really healthy. But it's average. Says here on SafeWise that if your house gets broken into, leave the house and call 911. Well, not if you're me. 2, don't touch anything. True, I didn't. 3, wait in a safe place. Yeah, where's that? 4, take inventory. No, I didn't need to. 5, take care of kids. No. Stop there, SafeWise. 5 should be number 1. First, you protect your people. Yeah. 6, clean up and get back to normal. Yeah, right. It says there, 6. So clean up and get back to normal. Those are what they say. Putting your home back in order will help you start to regain your sense of control and the first step to enjoying life as you once knew it. Ask friends and family to help because the task will be an emotional one, especially if your home was ransacked. Remember, if you come by an item that's not yours, report it to police. It could be the item that helps police catch the burglar or connect him to another crime. Get back to normal. The fuck out of here. Prepare for the future. I agree with that one. Nothing you do will be 100% guarantee for your home and your family's security, but a few things can help reduce the chance. Educate yourself on home security options. Now remember, they have a motivation to sell security systems, but that is very good advice. There's nothing wrong with having a home security system. It's not a paranoid thing. It's really a comfort thing. It's insurance. And it's not very solid insurance. It won't stop everybody from getting in. But at least it can let you rest a little more peaceful knowing that you've got a security system installed, you've put a sign outside, that tells people there's a security system installed. Make sure that you don't put what type of security system it is, which is something I read earlier, because that can help a criminal figure out how to disarm it. Just put that you have one installed. Find a generic sign. This house protected by security system, 24/7. Today, more than ever, there are a wealth of effective, affordable security plans to choose from. We put together, blah, 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 mobile apps. Survey your home security. Motion detectors. Doors and windows are locked. Using timers to activate lights. Or I would recommend motion-sensitive lights. We have that out front. But keep in mind that my incident happened in the middle of the goddamn day at 11:30 in the morning. And it bothers me. It bothers me. It bothers me that I was almost put in a position where I had to be guilty of murder at the end of the day. That bothers me. And it shows the relative lack of intelligence of the attempted burglar, because this person walked up to my front door, saw the camera staring in his face, tried to put his hand up to block it, but I still got photos, and then tried to break in. Now you think about that for a minute. You're a burglar. Maybe you're desperate. Maybe you're lost in the woods. You come across a house. You're starving to death. You got to try to get in. Now the reasonable thing to do is go up and knock and ask for food, right? But let's say you do that and nobody answers. So you got to eat. So you're going to break in, and you go up to the front door after you've knocked. You haven't noticed yet because you haven't looked in. You look in and there's a camera staring you in the face. Now are you going to break in? Well, I guess if you're starving, maybe you'll still try. So can we compare starving to needing money for drugs? I think it's safe. I mean, if you've ever looked at the motivational force behind someone who needs to get a fix, you'll understand that not much else matters. And that's just psychology. That's not my assessment. But my sympathy for that type of thing, that type of condition, which a person may have accidentally slipped into in the same way that they accidentally slip into being an alcoholic or something of that nature, is gone at this point. Now I'm thinking of what happened and the fact that someone's not in jail. That's my predominant thought right now, and I have a serious problem with that, and that has to lead to the next thought, which I had, and you know what it is already. What if he's not arrested? What if the correct person does not go to jail for this? Then I have a serious issue with that. Because when nobody gets in trouble for something, they just keep doing it. It's just the way it is with a criminal mindset. I mean, most of the people they find doing this stuff are career criminals. They've got a history that draws such an accurate and perfect picture that you can just about plot where they're going next. And they just, the jails are too full? Is that going to be the excuse I hear? It better not be. Yep. Before you judge me, ask yourself, what would you do? What would you do in this particular case? Let me see what you guys are saying in chat. RD says it's a great example of how fear can be used to manipulate. No wonder there are so many fearmongers around. Yes, you're absolutely right. That's what I was saying about Alex Jones, RD, and how he plays to that. He knows people have a natural tendency to fear what they don't know. So he goes out and finds all the things that are kind of iffy, those conspiracy theories, and he fills in blanks, sometimes with facts, sometimes with fiction, but he gives you an answer. And you're going to listen to him so you'll know what to fear, what to watch out for. The average person wants that education gap closed, and they can't find the information anywhere else because the average scientist, the average reporter, they insist on evidence before they'll talk about this stuff. So they're not giving you an answer because they don't have the evidence. Well, Alex Jones will fill shit in for you. He'll just make shit up. I can't tell you how many times I've heard him say, according to my sources. Fuck your sources, Alex Jones. Who are your sources? Give them to me. I need to know their motivation. I need to know their credentials. I want to know the time that their evidence was collected. I want to know the methods under which that evidence was collected. I want to know what their data say and how much those data are repeatable and provable in controlled conditions. And until that, fuck your sources. Your sources mean shit to me. You know? Yeah, that's Alex Jones for you. I don't know. You know what we're going to do here? I'm going to change gears, and we're going to get into some other stuff. I'll probably go a little freestyle after the break, but I need a little break right now, and I'm going to play a couple songs for you. I got some new ones downloaded, but I don't have them loaded up yet, so I'm not going to waste your time with that. That'll be tomorrow or the next day's show. Vigilante Rising is the name of this show. Will I be that guy? Do I have to become someone who finds a way to make justice happen if justice does not take care of itself in the way we thought our system was set up to work? I may sure be. Oh, let's see. How about I owe Bad Ace a play. Let's get Bad Ace in your life. It's a good song. Bad Ace, you can find them at badace.com. You can also find them on Facebook, so look them up. Do some rock stuff, do a little pop stuff sometimes. They're a very crafty band. I know the drummer in that band. And then after that, we'll do, how about, I do like that. That's going to be Low Tag Blanco Slumlord, one of my new favorite jazzy type songs. Yeah, we'll play those two, and I'll be back by then. And then I'll probably talk during a couple songs, because that's fun. That's fun to do. I like doing it. So now you know that is that, and here goes this.
You're listening to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kierstead.
Never had a feeling this quick as this before. Although I've loved plenty, none wasn't loved anymore. I've got you dancing in my mind every minute of every day. But I just feel so early to find the words to say. But I want you, and I always in my arms. But I need to, baby, protect you from any harm. Oh, I don't want to scare you away. I don't want to suffocate you, baby. I give you your space. You say you want attention, mama, I got plenty to pay. But I just feel so early to find the words to say. But I want you, not always in my arms. But I need to, baby, touch you all day long. Why I know that soon the time will come that I will be the only one in your life. Softly, deep within my eyes, I can't help but thinking maybe this is paradise. I never dreamed I'd hold you in all my living days, but I just feel so right, baby, to find the words to say. That I want you, not always in my arms, and I need to, baby, offer you the stars. Why I know that soon the time will come that I will be the only one. I know that soon the time will come that I will be the only one in your life. Never had a feeling as quick as this before. Although I've loved plenty, none wasn't loved anymore. You say you want attention, mama, I got plenty to pay. But I just feel so early, baby, to find the words to say. That I want you, always in my arms. But I need to, baby, protect you from any harm. Oh, I know that soon the time will come that I will be the only one. Oh, I know that soon the time will come
You're listening to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kierstead. You're listening to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kierstead.
We be back. DJ Guido, Rubber Rooms and Funny Pills, going to carry us into the next segment. I've got R.D. in the chat room, straight out of Europe, Holland. Watch out for crazy flying Dutchmen. You don't know what's coming next on this show. You really don't. You know why I know you don't know what's coming next? Because I don't know what's coming next. And you can't predict my show. I make sure of that. If there's one thing I can make sure of, at least the way I do the show now, is you can't predict it. There is no behavioral model within which you can fit the content of this show and the direction it will go at any given time. Right now, I think I'll talk about nostril hairs. How about those motherfuckers? Have you ever seen the ones so long you could braid them? I say braid them and tie them together. Give yourself a loop. You can hang yourself sometimes, you know. You're chilling. You walk up to a coat rack. I'm just going to hang out. I'm just going to hang out by the nostril hairs. They'll probably get yanked out, I know, but if you have a bunch, they'll probably hold. Why wouldn't I talk about that? I like to kind of match the feeling of the song, and that usually comes down to the title. The title tends to be, in my opinion, with the ones I've downloaded, consistent with the song itself. You know, for example, this song Rubber Rooms and Funny Pills would never be called How to Find Jesus. Even though you could make a stretch. You could make a stretch. DJ Guido, Rubber Rooms and Funny Pills, it's a long song. I'm just going to use it while we're talking, because I think it helps to demonstrate the insanity of this broken manimal. We're not very sane. We sure know how to act like it, don't we? We've seen models of it. We see it in our politicians. We see it in our religious leaders. They hold their stuff together, at least in public, don't they? Here's how you ought to behave is the message they're yelling at you, but you never hear that. It's all done through insinuation. Here's how you ought to behave. Here's the level-headed person. Well, level-headed works until someone speaks to your animal, doesn't it? You're at work, you've been in a marriage for 7 or 8 years, things aren't going well, and you're a middle-aged guy, and some 21-year-old secretary comes up and starts putting the moves on you. She's beautiful. And you start thinking, how seriously did I take my wedding vows? This is where your animal is trying to make his escape from the civilized behavioral blanket you've placed over top of him. Who's going to win that battle? For me, if I'm married, I just don't have it in me to cheat. I couldn't hurt someone like that I claim to love. That's just, but I've only been married once, and let's just say that sentiment didn't work both ways. I expect I'll be married again here before too long, and I know that we won't have to worry about the trust issue. That's a very comforting thing. That's a comforting thing when you're thinking about doing it again after the nightmare you had on your first attempt. People can lie. People do lie. What is it about, in the first few dates, they want to make it look like they're perfect, right? You know that. You can expect that. But what if they want to make themselves look perfect for the first year? And they're good at hiding the truth about themselves. Can you be sure that you understand them the way you think you do? Can you be sure this person you're falling in love with is really who you think they are? And I often wonder, maybe they weren't really trying to hide so much. They just hadn't let themselves out yet. You hadn't seen the animal. How the animal behaves can define you as a human being. How the animal behaves, you know what we do to animals that can't keep the civilized blanket of behavior over their spirits? We put them in cages, don't we? It makes sense. You go to cages. Well, I know a guy who's not in a cage right now who decided to be an animal and break into my house. So that's a problem for me. That's a problem for me right now. Something's got to give. It's, okay. It's, I didn't know you guys used military time over there. 1554. So you were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours ahead of us. Oh, tell me something, RD. Would you be honest with me? Would you say that Europeans in general, and maybe even the Dutch in specific, are far advanced as compared to Americans with regard to social policy and behavior? You just finished a book about dishonesty. I'd like to hear more about that. I can tell you people how to recognize a liar. I can pick a liar out of a group pretty quickly now. I've studied body language and all of that kind of stuff. It's not that I'm out looking for liars. For example, when I'm around my friends, like when we go out ghost hunting and stuff, I don't employ these body language assessment techniques. It's only when I need to know if I can trust somebody that I'm actually employing these. And so people get nervous when they find out I've studied body language and they're watching themselves. I'm like, forget about that, Because for one thing, let's say you're talking about body language. And, here's an example. It's popular belief that one of the signs of being defensive is that you cross your arms or legs. If I see you cross your arms or legs, I'm not saying you're defensive. What we need to see is 2 or 3 things, and then those need to be put into context. I cross my arms sometimes when I'm cold. I cross my arms when my shoulders are tired. But I don't cross them often because I don't ever want people to think I'm defensive. So now you've got to employ the very realistic knowledge that people are using countermeasures now in body language. So can you even trust them? Now you got to start looking for micro expressions and things along those lines. RD says, I think every culture has its flaws, to be honest. I think you're playing it safe there, RD. I would like to hear how you talk about Americans around the dinner table. I'm wondering if you'll just break down and tell me. Or is it like my friend who spent a lot of time in Germany said, people don't give a damn about Americans. They have their own problems. I just feel like we're targeted, and maybe it's for good reason. I do feel like American culture is targeted as imperialistic, as insensitive, as a lower level of intelligence as compared to the European average, as way behind on social policies, in that we're harsh. It's dog eat dog here. It's social Darwinism at its peak. Is that what they're thinking over there commonly? I mean, France just about hates us right now. England thinks we're dumb. So I don't know. I just and maybe we are. Maybe we've become dumb. We used to be the shit, man, back in the 60s, and it just fell. It just fell. Well, we still have some very bright people over here, mostly because of our immigration policies. We like to round up the PhD candidates and bring them on over. There are very few PhDs that originate from within this country and are in America right now. That's a sad thing to me. What is the value of education? Do you care about it? Do you think maybe street smarts are worth more? You just heard DJ Guido's Rubber Rooms and Funny Pills. Next will be Jazz Addicts with Lemonade. Jazz Addicts.
With host Kevin Kierstead.
That's Wes Johnson. Wes Johnson, wesjohnson.com. You can find him on Facebook, Twitter, all the major networks. He's also an actor. He's been in movies. Awesome guy. Washington Capitals arena announcer, voiceover actor. He's probably been in video games you've played as a voice actor. He's been around, folks. Jazz Addicts is a group that a friend turned me on to, and I've made contact with them. You can find them on Facebook, Jazz ADDIXX. This is called Lemonade. They've got another one. I might just line that up if I can find it. I got a pretty long, yeah, there it is. It's called Ah. I'll probably play that one after this one. Oh, I'm taking a working break right now. Book about dishonesty. Oh, okay, I'll pull it up. Let's see. I just hope Europeans will know to blame the governments and not the people. I think that's important. People have trouble separating governments from people. So you recommend this book? You think this is a good book about dishonesty? Open link, a new tab. I'll share it. The honest truth about dishonesty, how we lie to everyone, especially ourselves. Well, I've heard people say that before, and I disagree with it, because there are people like me who just insist on the truth 95% of the time. But usually when we're not using it, it's to give compliments or otherwise try to overlook a couple of our flaws for the very distinct purpose of trying to enjoy some happiness and peace of mind. Copy, I'll share that book for the announcement of the show you're listening to now on the Facebook page for Truth on Tap. That is facebook.com/TruthOnTapShow. You can follow it there, leave comments about the show. This is where I share links that apply to the stuff we were talking about, right under the announcement for the show, which Spreaker does automatically for me, post to my Facebook page. Vigilante Rising was today's topic, and I almost went outside the bounds of what I would consider tasteful today. Do you do a show, RD? I need to pull that up and find out too. RD share. So that's there now. Let's find out. Yeah, he likes the book a lot. Okay, so we're recommending the book. I recommended the book there. I'm going to pull up your profile and see if you do a show. I'll share that as well. Gaza conflict or ethnic cleansing. That was his last track. I'll post that. RD's show. Four scores and many more for your spirit to grow. See what you're hearing as our lyrics to go. For sure, award towards when you hear it, you know the truth don't never fear it, just grow. All right, so yeah, so we're just doing kind of a freestyle now, kicking back, letting the chat room dictate the tempo, speed, and direction of the show. And Yeah, I share it every time, man. People that come into my chat room, I tend to share their shows on every announcement, so, they can know who participated and who was in it and how to find them. Because, sometimes you'll hear on a radio show someone has said something in chat, you want to find that person. You have no idea who they are. You got a question for them. I put all that up there. The Honest Truth About Dishonesty. This is by Dan O'Reilly. How We Lie to Everyone, Especially Ourselves, June 18th, 2013. You can get Kindle, you can get paperback. Kindle version is $9.78. I gotta be honest, that's a bit expensive for a Kindle book, man. It better be a good book. But it does have 4.5 stars. So, and it is ranked much better than my books. It's ranked number 9,619 in Amazon bestsellers. So that's good. That's actually a very good ranking. He's a professor of psychology and behavioral economics at Duke University. So. Yeah, I'm reading some of the reviews now. Okay. Yeah, it looks like a good book. I recommend everybody read books about honesty and dishonesty. Read also how to figure out if someone's lying to you, because let me assure you something. If you're not used to telling the truth all the time, you should probably start figuring out either how to tell the truth most of the time or not talk, because they're picking up on this and they're figuring out how to analyze voice, and they can do it over the telephone, and they can do it in person recording you without your permission, especially if you're in a single-party state regarding wiretapping laws. So if you're lying, the chances of people finding out right away are growing and growing and growing. Now, if you're someone who lies a lot, that should have you a little paranoid. But I'm just warning you, it's here now, and it'll be a matter of time, maybe a few years, before you can buy yourself an iPhone or Android app for $4.95 that's 98% accurate in playing back a recording and telling you when lies are being told and when truth is being told. So, yeah, there is that. Something to consider. I don't know where I'm going to go after this one. I don't know what we want to do next. I'm a little bit over some of my anger about the guy trying to break into my house and still not being arrested. I understand the police have work to do and that work takes time, but people that live around me, as long as this guy, whoever he is walking free, are at risk. You are at risk. He's proven that he will attempt to break into many houses in the middle of the day. So, go ahead and do what you got to do to secure your place. That's my message about that. Your person and your place. I'm in a position now where I can't leave the house. So essentially, I'm not free. And that's a problem for me. That is a problem for me. Let's see if anything's going on in the chat. I want to see if RD's pushing the envelope here. SMORC, small model of rational crime. That's interesting. What's he talking about there? The SMORC idea behind crime. In criminology, the rational choice theory adopts a utilitarian belief that man is a reasoning actor who weighs means and ends, costs and benefits, and makes a rational choice. It undermines that primarily. SMORC stands for small model of rational crime. I haven't looked that up. I'm going to have to check that out. When you talk about preferences in entertainment, especially when you get into books, I know a lot of people that are into real crime or CSI type stuff. I'm not. I've never been into that. It's, I guess I look at it and say, well, I hope they catch the guy, but it's certainly not something I'm a fan of. Like, it's time I would spend my free time working on solving crimes. It seems boring to me. It just seems like something that it feels like a jigsaw puzzle. And that's all it is, really. I mean, from a practical point of view, you're solving a jigsaw puzzle, and you don't always have to have all the pieces, but you need enough pieces to convince a court or a jury that there's enough to go ahead and fill in the blanks reasonably to complete the puzzle. So I don't know. I think people enter different states of sanity and desperation, and those are two separate things. and that will dictate their behavior in a situation where it's involving criminals. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You know, one of the most popular news shows today, the most popular series that I've seen in the past few years is the one about the professor or teacher selling meth. What is that one called? I don't remember the name of it, but everybody's talking about that show still. And I think it's already finished. I think the show's already done. So here you've got, what's the moral dilemma? You've got a guy who claims to be a good guy, who has a serious family problem, who has turned to a life of crime to make his money. And it's okay with people. They're okay with that. So when you hear talking heads on TV and on the radio saying, this is the right way and this is the wrong way, this is the law and this is who should go to jail, and then you weigh in your head, wait a minute, there should be exceptions, you're discovering how we can be hypocrites in our own thinking, much less in our speech. Oh, you think everybody should go to jail for selling meth? Well, what about this guy? He's just trying to pay for so-and-so for cancer treatments for his son. He had no other way. What are you going to do? You know, these ethics arguments can completely contort your view of justice. And I think that's worth talking about. I don't have much else to add today, guys. We've only been going a little over an hour, and I don't want to string RD along here with the thought that this show might get more interesting than it has been. So I'm getting ready to get out of here. I can't think of anything to add to this show other than this. If you think that your house may be broken into at any point in the future, consider investing in some cheap electronic security. You can even use your webcam as a security camera if you download the right software, get your Google on, read the reviews. And you can always have it so that even if they steal your laptop and your camera, the pictures have already been uploaded to a server somewhere, whether that's just through your email or maybe your email and a security server that's located in another state. You know, you can pay for these services, a couple bucks a month, to have these pictures and video shots, motion detection, upload. I use the Skype mostly for the show because, RD, I don't talk to people. Here's the thing. I worked at Gateway, you know, the popular computer company, and I was in tech support. I worked in IT and tech support for Gateway. But when I got to tech support, I was chained to the goddamn phone literally for 10 hours per shift, 4 days a week, and it did something to me. Make me not want to talk on the phone much. So, yes, people do get in touch with me over Skype, but I usually just don't answer my phone or Skype, and I mean that. I'm just weird like that. I hate the phone. I would much rather you stop by. Now, unless you are, in fact, a Flying Dutchman, you're not going to be able to stop by, so I would make an exception for you, but I've got to really be in the mood to talk on the phone, and I almost never am. That's just a weird thing with me. I don't know what it is. But for some reason, when I'm on the phone, I pace, and pacing hurts my back and my knee, and I think I've associated the phone with pain through that correlation there. So that's natural. There's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing but operant conditioning. You can look up B.F. Skinner and Pavlov's dogs and understand that easily. When I do one thing, another thing happens, and the thing's unpleasant. Therefore, I don't want to do the one thing. Or when I do one thing or I hear one thing, something good happens. Therefore, I want to hear and do the one thing. So stuff like that. Yeah. So, all right, well, I'm getting ready to get out of here. RD, I'll be happy to talk to you next time. Why don't you call into the show next time? We'll talk about it. We'll figure out what's wrong with the world. We can do that. You know, it's no problem. And you can use Skype, or you can call in on the phone line, 910-NO-LYING. I guess you'd have to use country codes and shit. But it's actually a Google Voice number, so I'm not sure how that works. So anyway, you guys, I think what I'll do here is, for those of you that may have tuned in late, I'll put on a little commercial to tell you how to find and follow me. And I won't play any music on the outro, if you will. You must, because I did. And that's going to be it. So I hope you enjoyed the show today. Make sure keep you and yours safe. Keep your abode secure. And do what you have to do to try and enjoy a little peace and happiness in this short life we live. That's it. That is that. And here goes
You're
this.
listening to Truth on Tap with host Kevin Kierstead.
Ladies and gents, this is Kevin Kierstead, host of Truth on Tap and Caps on Tap. I hope you're enjoying the show. Truth on Tap is focused on bringing you absolute truth about everything from mainstream media to comedy, from psychology to the paranormal. This show keeps it real, not the fake kind of real, the real kind of real. That same spirit also covers our Caps on Tap show about the Washington Capitals. Caps on Tap shows air only after Capitals wins at this time. Please come like our Facebook page and join the conversation at facebook.com/TruthOnTapShow. Truth on Tap has been picked up and promoted by iHeartRadio, the internet audio mega monster, so shows are available there as well as on Spreaker and a limited selection on iTunes. To get in on a show's chat, you can chat from the Facebook page I mentioned or go to www.spreaker.com/user/TruthOnTap and look for the live episode or call in at 910-NOLYING. That's 910-665-9464. Thanks again for checking out Truth on Tap and Caps on Tap.